it was something like this, but a whole lot more. And I would just go and I would sit and watch how everybody else would be playing with stuff, but I would just sit and play with the Lego. And I would build all types of stuff with the Lego. And then somehow, miraculously, without any knowledge of myself, the Lego pieces will grow legs and they'll make their way home to my house. The same Lego pieces I would be building with at the preschool. So my mom saw that and she said, okay, Corey, you got to bring those Lego back to school because other kids want to play with those Lego, but I will buy you some Lego for yourself. So I said, okay. So I brought it back to the school and my mom, she brought me Lego pieces and Lego sets that I can build with. And ever since then, I have just been creating stuff out of Lego. Fast forward a few years, I became, an adult, and I got into Lego as a full-time profession. So I've been building with Lego my entire life.
I love that story. So one of the things I love about Lego is not only is it just a lot of fun to build with, play with, experiment with, it also really helps people express themselves in so many different ways, like mathematical thinking, artistic thinking, all of it. And I know as an educator, you're going to have some opinions about this. So can you talk about kind of the benefits of Lego for a bit?
Absolutely. So before I became a Lego master and an educator with Lego, I started doing after school programs where I would teach kids how to build with Lego using STEM. Now, STEM is known as science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So it's an acronym of all those 4 principal things that we learn in school every single day. What I do with Lego is I show you how to use those same principles from school in a playful way. So for example, if we're thinking mathematics, right, we're thinking 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4, 3 + 3 = 6. Well, what better way to learn how to count than to use those Lego pieces? So let me show you what I mean. So if I have 1 brick here and I'm saying 1 + 1, 1 + 1, and I bring those 2 together, I have 2 bricks, right? And if I wanted to go even further, let's say I wanted to do 2 bricks plus 2 bricks equals 4, right? So that's how I learned how to count with Lego. And watch what I did here. I took those 4 pieces and I made it into 1 solid piece. And I would teach how to build like a building using 4 bricks. So how would you take 4 bricks and make it into a building? So you will learn how to count those different bricks in order to build something. That's how I use Lego in the form of education. When it comes to like science, I also do experiments, right? So if we have a piece here, we drop it. That's gravity. So you learn about gravity, how gravity works by dropping those Lego pieces, right? And we build stuff to show how fast we can drop something with Lego or how slow we can drop it with Lego. So there's different ways of doing that. And then when we have technology, we add different things to the Lego in order for it to move. So that's a real fun experiment. We use batteries and motors in order to create functionality with things to move the Lego from one end to the other. And then, of course, when it comes to engineering, well, engineering kind of puts all of those things into one thing. Engineers, they learn about math, they learn about science, they learn about technology in order for them to become engineers. So that's what we're doing with all of those different experiments. We might say we're going to build a car that's 10 bricks tall. So you have to make sure you're counting those bricks to see if they're 10 bricks tall. We got to make sure we do the science part to make sure all of those bricks stay on and they're perfectly balanced. And then we use the technology part in order for it to drive. So those are different ways that we use Lego as a way of educating.
I know this is going to be a really tough question for you, like kind of asking someone who their favorite child is or what their favorite book is, but what's the build you're most proud of? Could you say?
Ooh, the build I am most proud of. I can say it. So I am a big comic book fan. Okay. If you see my background, there's a bunch of comic book stuff on my background, right? So I used to read comic books when I was also a kid. So if I didn't play with Lego, I was reading comic books. So one of the things that I really like was this Infinity Gauntlet that Thanos had in one of these movies from Marvel. If you look at my background over here, the character in the center, he's actually wearing that Infinity Gauntlet. And if you look at my background, you see another Infinity Gauntlet made out of Lego. But I wanted to wear one of those to a convention. And when I ordered it online, they sent me a rubber glove that was totally not what I wanted. So I said, how can I make something that will look like an Infinity Gauntlet, but also be unique? So I said, all right, I'm going to build it out of Lego. So I built this Infinity Gauntlet right here. And this Infinity Gauntlet, I made it all out of Lego. And because Lego at the time didn't have a lot of gold pieces, I ended up spray painting this so that it has those gold type of pieces. But I built this and I wore this to this convention. And because of that, I got a lot of people saying that they really loved what I built. So this was probably one of the most proudest things I've ever built, because it was the first one of these large Lego builds that you see behind me. This was the first of them.
That's amazing. The joints on that gauntlet are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes.
So I don't know if all of you know this. I know I see some people in the audience who've been to some of our own library versions of Lego Master programs we've done at the library. So I know I've got some other young Lego experts out there. But so Lego translates to play well.
Yes.
And I know you've remarked on this before in the past, Corey. You've had a really great experience on Lego Masters. So it's very positive, really cooperative, collaborative type of environment between like even the fellow competitors and the hosts and just everything, which is exactly what you would want to hear. And I feel like it's pretty typical of the Lego community from what I have seen of it. But there had to be moments where you got in your head and were tempted to like compare and kind of see what everyone was doing, because it is a competition at the end of the day. Like, how did you and your brother keep your focus during that time?
Well, I would say the first time we got that type of issue was our first challenge. And I think for a lot of the Lego Masters, that was the challenge that we all experienced. So entering the brick room or the studio, it's amazing. The lights, the cameras, the workstations, and then the brick pit that's in the back. It's incredible. Like looking around, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're here. Now, the thing is, once we started to build, everybody was kind of focused on what they were doing. But then you started to see the different builds actually coming together. And for me and my brother, I think when we started to see the other builds coming together and how tall they were and how big they were, we started to get a little lost in what we were doing, because we were just blown away by what other people were able to do with the same type of pieces we had available. So I guess for us, we kind of had to get out of our own heads and kind of appreciate the work that everyone was doing. And then in our minds say, hey, we got to step it up as well. Because me and my brother, we're very competitive. We're very competitive when it comes to other teams, and we're very competitive amongst each other, because we're the only two boys in our immediate family. We have a lot of sisters, and we're the only two boys. So we're always competitive, and we're always a side-by-side tag team. So when we started to notice all the stuff that was going on around us, we had to kind of regroup and say, hey, we got to make sure that we know why we're here. We got to let everybody else know why we're here. And we can't be sent home in the first challenge. We have to meet this challenge and meet it well. And I think that we're able to do that. And, we had fun being able to kind of getting into that moment and actually going forward and doing what we were able to do. So definitely the first episode was when we came to that realization that we can't just sit around and watch everybody else build. We got to build some stuff too.
So what do your students think about your Lego Masters? What do they have to say about it?
So it's interesting. Before Lego Masters, everyone used to call me Lego Corey. And every school that I went to, they didn't call me Mr. Corey, they call me Lego Corey. Because they knew if I'm there, we're going to play with Lego, we're going to learn with Lego. So when the show came out, and when I started to go back to schools, they started calling me Lego Master Corey. So they said, you were on Lego Master, so this proves that you're better than every other Lego teacher that's out there because they weren't on Lego Masters, you were on Lego Masters. And I said, no. I was on Lego Masters. That does not mean that I am better than any other Lego instructor. That just means that the Lego instructor that you have, they have things that they can teach you that I don't know. And maybe I have things I can teach you that they don't know. But at the end of the day, we're all the same. We're all instructors trying to teach you how to build different things with Lego. But my students, they totally see me at a different light because I was on the show, and now they call me Lego Master. But I always try to make sure they know that there are other Lego instructors that are pretty good too.
Now, I know even with seasoned builders like you and your brother, I'm sure you've had some times where that perfect image in your head that you have is not exactly matching up with what you have on the table in front of you. When you have those moments where you like hit a wall like that and you're feeling that frustration, how do you kind of get through it? Do you have any tips you could offer our kids out there that get those frustrated moments?
Absolutely. That took place on episode 3. And episode 3, we really ran into a brick wall when it came to our project. We had to take a piñata that was cut in half and try to build something on the other end of that piñata. And me and my brother, we were very ambitious. We didn't want to build something small. We said, if we're going to build something, let's build something massive. Let's show them that we can build something big. So we built it big. And, we had an idea. It didn't come the way we wanted it to come. But what we did, we took 2 steps back and we just stared at it like this. And you guys didn't really see that on TV, but there was a moment where me and my brother, we just stood there and we just stared at what we built. And we just stared at it for a very, very long time. And we wanted to look at it and to say, are we happy with the way this looks? And we looked at it, we said, yeah, we're not happy with the way it looks. What can we do to change it? So then we said, okay, well, we can change this about it. We could change that about it. So I said, okay, let's go back and let's do it. So anytime, and this is outside the show, I've had this moment many times when I'm building different projects. I stand back and I look at it and I just stare at it. I don't make any decisions. I just stare at it. And I look at it and I say to myself, is this how I want this project to look? Is this how I want this project to be conveyed to other people? When they look at it, are they going to be, whoa, blown away? Or are they going to be like, I could have did this better? And that's always my mentality. So when I looked at that, I said to myself, okay, we have to make some changes. So take 2 steps back, look at your project, kind of get an idea of what it is. And if you're feeling satisfied with it, if you're happy with the way it looks, then it's totally perfect. And that's it. Because at the end of the day, what really matters is what you think of what you built. Everybody's going to have different opinions about what you built, but it's all about what you think about how you built. And if you're satisfied with it, then that's it.
That is really, really good advice.
Thank
So
you.
some more advice I'm going to ask you for. If
Sure.
someone really loves Lego and they're not necessarily getting in, they aren't doing the motors and everything just yet, but they want to kind of level up to like starting to get into more complicated builds and sets, what would you recommend that they start off with?
Great question. I am prepared. Here's an example. Now, this is a Technic set, and this set has about 163 pieces in it. But it's also a 2-in-1 set. So there's 2 different things you can build on it. once you've graduated from this type of set, like the classic sets that have different classic types of builds on it, once you've seen that you're getting really good at this and you don't really need instructions to build it and you want to level up, the next level is to get a Technic set. Now, if you notice, I have a few Technic sets sprinkled here and there in the background. Those big sets, don't go after those just yet. Try a very small set. See if you can understand why there are certain things that are there. For example, this is a motorcycle that actually moves. And they have gears here that are attached to chains, that are attached to different pins and pegs, that are attached to different Technic pieces in order to create this motorcycle. Now, once you learn how to build this, then everything else will come like very, very easy to you. Like adding motors to something like this will become very easy. Building bigger projects will come very easy. But it's always good to look for those small little Technic sets like this with like 150 pieces to 200 pieces. Those are the best sets to use in order to get better at what you're doing. Because once you've mastered that, you can literally build almost anything. So I will start there.
And what's a staple that every brickmaster should have in their personal Lego collection if they can get it?
Very, very easy. This piece right here. This piece is known as a brick separator. The reason why we got this brick separator, remember these bricks I had earlier? Let's say I want to make some adjustments, but maybe my hands are not strong enough and I don't have nails to pick it off. If I have my brick separator, I can literally put it here and then bend backwards and I could take that piece off. See that? And it comes clean off. So a brick separator is what a Lego master needs in their workshop. I literally have maybe 5 or 6 of those pieces right here next to my workstation. I have one on my keychain just in case if I'm out and I'm working and I end up having to make some adjustments, I can use it there. I have one in my pocket. I always have a brick separator close by. And even on the show Lego Masters, we had tons of brick separators. When I mean tons, I mean we were all given like 50 or more brick separators because we were literally, whenever we're putting bricks down, if we see that we messed up, we got to take those bricks off very, very quickly. We don't have time to pull them off with our nails. So we use those brick separators to get the job done.
Can't believe I didn't even think about that. Just the amount of bricks that you were building and removing and just moving around on the show. I can't even imagine how someone could do that without several of those.
Oh yeah.
So I have a feeling what you're going to say, judging on your background, but when you finish a project, are you kind of just like on to the next thing, or do you save and display your creations? How do you decide what to save?
It really depends on what the project is. So out of all the projects that you see behind me, only 2 of them I have not changed since building them. If you look downwards on my left, you'll see a little small building. This is an actual church that's located in Alabama. This I have not changed since I built it. And technically it belongs to the church. I just have to deliver it, but this will not change. You see that green lantern in the back there? That hasn't changed since I built it. That Mario right here, this Mario has changed maybe twice since I built it the first time. This Thor hammer right here has not changed. That gauntlet has changed several times since building it. And the one that has changed the most is my Stormbreaker here. And this Stormbreaker is about 3 feet tall, but it started about this big. And I just kept adding and adding and adding and adding. I'm still currently working on it. Like there's different like vines and stuff that you see kind of all over it. I still have to work on adding those vines all over it. I still have to work on the blade part because every now and again I look at it and I said, I could change this up a little bit. So this is the one project that I am still currently working on constantly, just to make sure that it's the way I want it to look. But most times, most projects, you never really finish it. Oh, I can show you another one. This was a build that I did for Falcon when he became Captain America, and I had redesigned this, and this has not changed. So there are projects that will not change, but there's other projects that I can keep evolving because there's always new pieces that Lego come out with that will work really well for something that I'm building. And then there's some projects that I say, you know what, I think I'm done with it. It's time to move on to the next one. So it's a little bit of both.
So I have a friend who is a big Lego enthusiast, just like gobbles up like all the sets and does them and displays them. Maui, this is for you if you're listening. And he had warned me before coming on here. He's like, when you talk to Corey, say Lego and not Legos. Didn't want me to embarrass him out here. So is there any other kind of insider terms or builder terminology we should know if we want to sound like we know what we're doing and talk like professional Lego builders like yourself?
Absolutely. I will tell you, let me see. I will tell you the top 3 things that you would need to say, or Lego jargon that you can use in order to sound like a real professional with Lego. Okay, number 1, all of these different projects that you see here are called MOCs, M-O-C, MOCs. My Lego MOC here, my Lego MOC there. And MOC stands for my own creation, okay? My own creation. All right, that's number 1. Number 2, and this is actually a Lego piece that you should know, but we use these pieces all the time. This is called a snot, like a snot piece. Now, you might be thinking, the last time you heard the word snot, you wasn't thinking Lego. I know that for sure. But this snot piece is an acronym as well, and it's called Studs Not on Top. Studs Not on Top. All Lego pieces, with the exception of a few, have studs that sit on top of them to connect them together. But there are some pieces that have snot pieces on the side, which means you can build to the side instead of up and down. Okay? And just to add a little bit to that, before we move on to the third one, is also known as clutch power. This is clutch power. When you connect things to Lego pieces to each other and they all stay connected, that's known as clutch power. Okay? Now, the third thing that you need to know, all right? Let me see if I can use an example of that. Let's see. Oh, perfect example. I'm wearing it. This right here. Now, this is something that I created. This is a rose that I like to wear on my clothes. Here's another closer look at it. This rose piece is actually a car hood. If you're making a small car, this is an actual hood from a car. Now, I use a car piece to be a rose petal. That's known as an MPU. MPU. Nice part usage. Nice part usage. That's when you take a part that's intended for one thing and you use it for something totally different. So I'm using a car part in order to be a rose petal. So those are the 3 things that I feel you need to know in order to be a great Lego master. You need to know studs not on top, snot pieces, you need to know MOCs, and you need to know NPUs. And I think if you know those 3, you're good to go.
Okay, everyone, now is your time to shine. So I asked Corey all of my burning questions, but I know I have some builders out there that have questions for our Lego professional out there. So if you have a question, let's go ahead. And if, like I said, if anyone's shy, feel free to use the chat. Oh, I think I see someone right now. Sophia.
Okay, thank you. What is the hardest thing you've ever built in your life, if you can remember?
Great question. The hardest thing I've ever built in my life, I'm going to eliminate Lego Masters as one thing because all those projects were very, very hard. So I'm going to think of something that I built personally. The hardest thing I've ever built in my life was the gauntlet, and the one that's right over there. And the reason why this was hard for me to build is because I wanted that gauntlet to look exactly like it did in the movie. So I had to literally reuse different shapes. I had to sculpt it differently. I had to make sure all the gold pieces looked right. And then the inside of it, I wanted the inside of it to look straight as well. So this actually, which I thought it would take me a shorter time to build, took me a long time to build. It took me like maybe 2 weeks to build that. And this is like building it every single day, hour, 2 hours a day to build it. So it was definitely a very, very difficult build. In fact, I can show you real quick. So you see it close up. So there's a lot of different things on it for it to work properly. And of course, I had to build it while I'm holding it as well, because I want it all to match up and to look like how I want it to look. So this was definitely a difficult build for me. Great question.
Thank you, Sophia. It looks like we've got a question from Henry. Do you have a question you want to share with us?
Well, it seems like Audie has a question.
Oh, okay, Audie, go ahead.
Can't you see him?
These are our other brothers who brick, Corey.
Your contestant.
And before he's done doing what he's doing, I want to show you a creation I've made.
Thank you.
Morales.
This is like Miles Morales in a like cool mech.
Excellent, excellent. You know what I did earlier this last year I took all of those Marvel mechs. At the time there were about 6 of them, and I put them and I made it all into one giant mech. Unfortunately, it did break. I was traveling with it and it did break apart, so I didn't have a chance to rebuild it, but I will rebuild it, and next time we see each other, hopefully I'll have this big giant mech to show you. But I love those little mechs. It's really, really cool.
Oh yeah, for Christmas. I got a set with 3 of those mechs.
And you didn't build one of them.
Yeah, I built. Yeah. Only one of them I haven't built yet, and this one came with it.
Very, very cool. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that with me.
And I think they had another question. Is a mock from a Lego set or something without instructions? They were asking for clarification on that.
Great question. A mock is outside of the Lego set. So a Lego set is technically the designer's mock that you're building. So the designer or team of designers, they come up with their own creation, and then Lego makes it and then sells it. So when you have my own creation, that's when you're building your own idea, something that you created, not necessarily what you found in a Lego box. You built what the Lego box said, but it's something totally different. You can take what's in a Lego box and you can build it into something else, and that will be a MOC.
We have a question from Milo. Milo, I didn't know if you wanted to ask yourself or if you wanted me to ask for you. Well, Milo wanted to know, and I can't even imagine what this number would be. How many builds do you think you've created in your life? Do you have an estimate?
That's not what I said. Sorry, I didn't know I was on mute. What I wanted to show you, I wanted to show him some of the builds I've made.
Oh,
I can't take my screen off.
let me see if I can do it for you.
Thank you. This I made while we were doing it. I made him.
Oh, that's so awesome.
And I have tons more Lego sets that aren't built currently, but I have a bunch of Lego sets going in my room.
Oh, wow. Nice. I love the shelf displays. That is
Some of this is stuff that are normal Lego sets, and then some of this are my own box. So
very, very cool.
it's a mix between.
Very nice. Awesome, Milo.
Thank you.
But I will answer your question. I do have an estimate.
We have 2 Milos, that's why.
Okay. Well, the question you asked earlier then, I have made up to date close to 3,500 builds. Now that includes builds I did on Lego Master, builds I did with Buddy versus Christmas, builds that I've done as commission for other people, builds that I've done for myself, these backgrounds, and builds that you see me wearing like this. So with all of those things in my entire lifetime so far, up to 3,500 Lego builds, and I am still building.
Whoa, that is amazing to think about.
And I'm not even including the Lego builds that I've done. So Lego
Is
builds.
that stuff you've built multiple times? Is it counting as stuff you've built multiple times, or just separate things you've built?
Multiple times. Sometimes, like for example, because I make these and I sell them, I might build this like 100 times, so I can sell them when I'm on my website or when I go to conventions.
You're counting that.
I'm counting that as well. But if I was to remove that as a factor, maybe 500, 600 less than what that number is. So over 3,000 at least.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm always building with Lego. That's what I love to do now.
Oh, any other questions for Corey while we have him today? Oh, Essence, looks like she has a question.
Well, I just wanted to show you something. I just made this.
That's awesome.
And I found this piece.
Oh,
Very good.
And I made this.
Oh, that's a pretty
cool.
cool creation.
Thank you.
Very nice. Wow, I love the creativity that all of these amazing students have. This is amazing. Awesome.
Thank you. Anyone else who hasn't had a chance yet? Oh, Milo, I still see your hand is raised. Do you have another one?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do you get your builds? Do your sponsors give you the builds, or do you pay for them yourself?
Great question. A lot of the builds or a lot of the Lego sets that you see behind me, I buy those myself. So I usually don't have sponsors give me Lego sets. However, when I'm building a Lego commission is when you're building something for someone else. Like if I'm building something for a company, if I'm building something for a private, like a person, like a regular person, then they would buy the Lego pieces for me, or I will give them a list of Lego pieces I need. They will get it, send it to me, and then I will build it.
Wait, so I could pay you to build me something?
Sure,
Oh, okay. Do you have like a website?
I do.
Wait, let me grab a piece of paper. Mom, can you grab a piece of paper and something to write with?
You know, let's put that in the chat for everyone to see because he's got a great website.
I do. I'll put my website in the chat. Also, I want to share this with everybody. So we mentioned earlier that I do have a Facebook group and it's called Brickmasters Kids Lug. And what a lug is a Lego user group. And basically, this is the first of its kind from what I know. It's basically a Lego group for kids. So kids all over the world, they join into this group and they share pictures of the different creations that they're working on. We meet once a month where we do different challenges together. We'll have a Lego master come in and kind of talk about their time on the show. We'll also have other challenges, and you can even win special prizes for participating in some of the challenges as well. So I'm going to also put that in the chat as well. It's called Brickmasters Kids Lug, L-O-L-U-G, on Facebook. And it just so happens that today is our monthly meeting. So if you guys want to join, there's the Zoom link. It actually starts in about right when we're done with this meeting. That meeting starts at 5 o'clock. So if you want to join in, if you want to participate, if you want to just hang out and meet other kids who love Lego, and even meet a Lego master from season 2, that's our guest for today. You know, you're definitely free to come on in, okay?
Awesome. I really hope you all check that out. This is a great resource and opportunity for you. I have one more question that I got in the chat before we go, and then I'm going to just throw it to Corey for a second after that so he can tell us about any of his current projects or things he wants to promote. But our last question is, what is the most, this is from Ellis, what's the most pieces you've used in a build?
Ooh, the most pieces I've used in a build was for this show called Buddy versus Christmas. Now, Buddy Velastro, the cake boss from Food Network, they reached out to me and they said, hey, we would love for you guys to do a Christmas special with us. So me, my brother, Lego Masters Mel, Lego Master Jermaine, and Lego Master Emmanuel or Manny all joined us, and it was 5 of us on a team, and we built a Lego robot that used 75,000 Lego pieces. And this robot is actually located in New Jersey at the Make-A-Wish Castle. So if you're ever in New Jersey, you ever go to the Make-A-Wish Castle, as soon as you enter in, you're going to see this big giant robot that we built. And that is the most pieces that I've used to build a Lego set.
Amazing. I'm going to look for that episode because that sounds like so much fun to see that collaboration happen.
It was it's a very different show from Lego Masters. You see a lot of us being laid back, and it was just really, really fun. And you see we make a lot of cool jokes on there. So yeah, check it out. It's really fun.
So what are your current projects right now, Corey? What do you have going on? What do you want to promote and tell us about?
All right, so current project. I'm going to show you parts of that project. So this is a window from that very project that I am working on. This project is actually going to be another building just like this, but it's a building located in St. Martin, the Caribbean island of St. Martin. My parents are from the Caribbean, and this courthouse is a very, very famous courthouse. It's the first courthouse that was ever built in the Caribbean back in the 1800s. And this courthouse was where they did all their trials and everything like that. And it was the first one ever built in the Caribbean. Well, one of the first built in the Caribbean. So I'm going to replicate that as a Lego and then donate it to the country itself. And that project, when it's done, will be the largest project piece-wise that I've done to date, and it's going to be 11,060 pieces in order to build it. So far, I've built only the windows, and now I'm going to start the actual construction of the actual building. So it's going to take me maybe a couple of weeks to finish it, but that's going to be the largest build that I have done to date. And as far as anything else, I am doing different projects all the time. One of the projects that I will be doing very, very soon are summer camps. So summer's coming. So I have some summer camps that are coming up, some virtual summer camps. I also have a virtual class that is starting in April. So if you're checking out my website, if you check out my website next week or this week coming, you're going to find out some more information about that. We are going to build some cool and amazing vehicles for that class. So I'm going to teach you how to build a car from scratch using Lego. And you're going to learn all the different terminologies, and there's different fun projects that we're going to do in between. But the end of that class, in the end of those weeks, you should have a final finished car. And if you do the class, then I will send you a special gift as well. So that information will be put on my website as of next week. So please tune in for that as well. And you can always check me out on my Instagram channel. My Instagram handle is the same as my website, Sam's Brego. I always post things. I always show different, I always do different challenges. And a lot of my challenges, I tend to give away Lego sets and Lego pieces. So, you know, feel free to join in whenever you see me promoting them. And yeah, I just want you guys to always remember that Lego is a tool for you to be creative. Okay, never feel restricted by the Lego in front of you. Maybe you don't have a lot of Legos, right? Well, Lego, I should say. I have thousands of Lego pieces in my house, but I never feel restricted in how I can build. And even if you don't have that many, never feel restricted in how you can build, okay? Always be creative and always be proud of what you create, okay? So that's the message I want to leave for each and every one of you.
Thank you so much, Corey. We're going to let you go because I do not want to make you late for your Brickmasters meeting.
No,
Would
when
be
is Brickmasters?
terrible.
Is it 4 or 5?
What was
4 or
that?
5. When is the Brickmasters?
It's at 5 o'clock. Well, 5 my time, 4 your time.
For our time, yeah.
For your-
Oh, okay, good. Because I was gonna say, wait, you said you have to go, but it's still gonna be an hour after the
He's
meeting.
in a
And I was like,
different time zone than us. He's
Yeah.
like a
Okay.
little bit ahead. So yeah,
make it
for
4
our
o'clock,
time.
okay. So I will be there, okay?
Sounds great.
Got at least one person from this group, Corey. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. And stay tuned for more Lego programming from your Forest Park Library. Bye.
Everybody, thank you.